Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine and I'm back here to do another review of NBC's Emerald City, Season 1, Episode number 8, entitled Lions in Winter. So this episode, in my opinion, was another really good one. We learned so much info. How am I going to keep it condensed in this video without creating another 20-minute video? I will try my best, but it's probably going to end up being a 15-minute video, so just hold on tight. So pretty much we learned during this episode that Roan is still in love with Dorothy. It's crystal clear to me. Even as he has sex with Glinda in one scene, you can tell that he is just going through the motions and his mind is on Dorothy. He ends up smiling at Dorothy during Noah's childbirth scene. He refuses to kill Dorothy when she almost kills Glinda. He is cold to Dorothy, but still you can see that love in his eyes. As far as the wizard is concerned, the wizard is so sure that Lady Ev is going to make these weapons for him and just hand them over with no problem. He feels like in the battle between his kingdom and Glinda's witches that he and his men will emerge victorious, and that once they win, this will prove that science trumps magic. I can't wait to see this battle because I really don't believe it's going to turn out well for the wizard because he is far too cocky about this situation. So we get to Mistress of the West and Tip. Now, Mistress of the West believes that Tip is Princess Ozma because Tip has Princess Ozma's, I believe it's the knife jewel thingy. And the legend has it that Princess Ozma, the daughter of Samuel and Catherine Pastoria, died along with them by the hand of the wizard after he defeated the beast forever. But the thing is that Tip is the right age, she has that staff, and she resembles the king and queen. And don't forget about that scene where she kind of flashes back to the scene where the king and queen were killed and she can see through the eyes of the baby, which means she basically was the baby. And West tells Tip that she and Tip were born to fly, and they fly away. Then we get to the scene of Jack. It's morning after. And by morning after, I mean it is the morning after he and Lady Ev had sex for the first time. It's a very uncomfortable scene for poor Jack. Because Jack wakes up and is like, the maid and the butler at the edge of the bed just sitting there smiling. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And then they try to get him to eat breakfast. He's like, I'm not hungry. They try to get him to take a bath. He doesn't want to. So then the one dude, I believe it's the butler, he pulls out this oil can and starts talking about oiling Jack's odd parts. And I'm like, no, We see Glinda reintroducing little Sylvie, whose name is actually Leith, into the collective of little girls who are Glinda's little witches. And Glinda tells the girls to treat little Sylvie well. Unfortunately, as you know, with little kids, be they boys or girls, when there's a new kid, obviously the kids are going to try that kid, and they did. The first time the girls tried Sylvie, they moved her bowl as she was trying to eat her food, and Sylvie moved it back, and she tried to use her powers and ended up turning her bowl to stone with the spoon inside of it. And then when they tried her again, Sylvie managed to move everybody's bowls off the table onto the floor, and the other girls were super happy. Like, yay! Leith is back! Yay! So Dorothy is stuck in some sort of cell with this beautiful pregnant girl named Noah. And Noah's only crime was falling in love, and the only reason why Noah's alive is because she's pregnant. And Noah reveals to Dorothy two things. Number one, that Dorothy is being charged with the crime of kidnapping Glinda's husband, despite the fact that Dorothy didn't know that he was Glinda's husband. She just thought he was this poor sap who was tied to this post with barbed wire and was dehydrated and hungry, and she just took care of him and took him with her, and he couldn't remember anything. Noah also reveals to Dorothy that the wizard is always talking about the beast forever, but really he's the beast. And I'm just like, finally, somebody said this to Dorothy, because it seemed like Dorothy really trusted the wizard, and I'm sitting here as a viewer, or at least I'm sitting there every time I watch the episode like, you cannot trust this dude. You can't trust him. He is shady. Don't trust him. Anyway, Glinda is pissed that Dorothy is even in her palace. And the only reason why Dorothy is still alive is because Roan / Lucas vouched for her and said that she saved him, as we know. So Glinda tells her ginger minion, I'm just going to call her Ginger Girl, to make sure that Dorothy is gone, because she doesn't want her in the kingdom anymore. So when the Ginger Girl walks into the cell, she sees Noah on the floor, whose water has broken, and she is in the throes of childbirth. The only thing is that the baby is breached, and Dorothy tries to get this girl to help her, and the girl is trying to choke her, and just like, go get help. And Dorothy says the same thing, go get Glinda. So by the time Glinda shows up, Glinda's like, listen, what do you want me to do? And Dorothy's like, the baby is breached, and Glinda's like, I know, and if this goes wrong, the child's going to die. And Dorothy's like, Noah is in pain, and Glinda's like, oh, that's it, click, and the pain is gone, and Noah's just as calm as can be. So Noah gives birth to this beautiful baby. I'm not sure if it's a boy or a girl, and she enlists Roan, Lucas's help, and Glinda is highly upset because Roan, Lucas smiles at Dorothy as they hold the baby, and Glinda is not trying to have it. And you can tell that Roan Lucas is going, and I know you're probably saying, why are you calling this dude Roan Lucas? Because literally he is half Roan and half Lucas. Throughout the entire episode, this dude is going through the motions. He is not feeling Glinda at all. Glinda takes her clothes off, trying to convince him that she is the one to be with and that he should love her, and he's just like, okay. And then they have sex, and it seems like his mind is on Dorothy the entire time. And when Dorothy is confined to a room with all these witch girls by Glinda, who basically tells her, listen, you need to fix these girls or you're not getting out of here, which I interpreted as, you know what, you're gonna die, is what it is. So if you want to leave, you better do something. And when Roan brings in this other girl into the room with Dorothy, Dorothy's upset, and she's like, listen, I know that I lost you, I can live with that, but I need little Sylvie. And she ends up activating her gauntlets, the ones that East had that now she has, and she leaves the room. She goes to Glinda's room and uses the power that she has to wrap Glinda up in her sheet and have this chick suspended in air, and she looks like a cocoon. There's things around her throat, it's choking her. Roan basically comes up behind her, and he's like, listen, if you want to kill her, you're going to have to kill me. And Dorothy can't do that, and she drops Glinda on the bed. Glinda is screaming and screeching and all upset. And basically, when Dorothy storms out, she wants Roan to chase after Dorothy and to kill her. And Roan's like, I'm not going to kill this girl. And Glinda's like, well, the old Roan would have done that. I'm like, obviously, the old Roan is no longer here. This is new Roan here. West convinces Tip to consume East's power that is confined within this reliquary in a crypt where she and Tip, West and Tip, basically landed inside of. And it's a place where allegedly the wizard has no idea that it exists. But I'm just like, nah, this dude definitely probably knows it. He just hasn't said anything because he seems to know everything. Well, not everything because he couldn't see Glinda coming, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. So Tip follows West's advice despite the fact she feels some type of way about it. Like, no one's ever done this before. This may not work, but she swallows it down. She drinks up a little bit of the power that East had, and she ends up seeing the flashback with her mother and her father, and she sees them slaughtered, and then she sees this person in a lion mask, the one that killed her mother and father, and she also sees the wizard on a side note. And he, like, bends down, and he is looking over her, and that's when she goes into convulsions, and it appears like she has died. And the next thing you know, we see West carrying this child's body down to, it looks like a moat in the crypt, and putting the girl in the water. At first, when I watched the scene the first time, I was just like, well, I guess she thinks that little Tip is dead. But really, there was some significance as to why she put that body in that water when I watched it a second time. I think she hoped that the water would be able to purify her and bring her back. And as we saw at the end of the episode, it was able to bring her back. So we see Jack and Jane in a scene, and Jane reveals that she was fired by Lady Ev because she refused to make weapons for Lady Ev. And the cutest part of the scene was where she told Jack, remember when you thought that you had lost your heart, or your heart was broken, or it would never work again? She was like, that's impossible. In other words, you still have heart, Jack. Then we see Jack with Lady Ev later in the episode, and Lady Ev basically looks at Jack like he is property because she does own him, but Jack is just like, no, this is not cool at all, basically. And she's just like, well, you know, for me, people are either good for business or pleasure, and Jack is so distraught, so Lady Ev ends up freeing him, and she fears that he will leave her, which of course he's not going to leave her, obviously, because he likes her. So let's see if I forgot anything. So Dorothy tries to go and get Sylvie and convince her to leave with her, but Sylvie has been accepted and reacquainted with the rest of the witch girls, so Sylvie's not leaving at all. She's happy where she is. So Dorothy leaves, hops on a horse, and Toto goes barking and running beside her. So when the wizard makes it to the gate, he sees Lady Ev's men, and they end up greeting him and turning the guns that they made for his men upon him. So I can't wait to see how that scene is going to turn out. Eamon is the lion, like I thought he was, and that gives me the impression that he did not kill baby Ozma like he was supposed to, obviously, because she's still alive. I bet you he probably took baby Ozma and gave her to Mombi, who we haven't seen all season. Don't forget about her, because she's not dead after Lucas bludgeoned her. Her hand was still moving. And he told Mombi to take care of Tip and keep her safe. West, in the end, after there was a scene earlier in the episode where she tried to appeal to Glinda and get Glinda to tell her where their mother was, and Glinda starts talking about how West was supposed to be Mother South's successor, and basically saying that West is a failure and breaking poor West's heart, despite the fact that West was trying to lend her services to Glinda. Glinda is just like not trying to hear it because she literally is the Queen of Shade, and she is truly an ice queen to be that mean to her baby sister. That's why West is so messed up, because she missed her big sister East so much, because East definitely did love her a lot and cared for her way more than Glinda did. So West attempts suicide. She slits her wrists with her magic, and she lays down on the floor in the crypt. There's like some type of like seal on the floor with this indentations in it, and she's bleeding out, and her blood is really dark as she bleeds out. And we hear some footsteps, and Tip pops up, and she reveals it worked. And I assume that Tip is going to use the magic that helped her come back and bring back Mistress West, but I don't think Mistress West is going to be what she was when she comes back. And if her skin turned green, that would be really awesome, because then the Wicked Witch of the West would be canon. But anyway, guys, you take care. I've got 2 more reviews, 24 Legacy and The Walking Dead, to do this weekend, and I will have them done before Sunday. I promise you that, if everything goes according to plan. But I'm definitely going to work on quite a few reviews on Saturday. And I also have an Emerald City review that I will be doing as well. But I love you all. Take care. Until next time, guys. Bye, guys. Bye.